Hey Facebook, how are you? It's Randy Floyd. You know what time it is. It's noon on Monday. I'm here live on the Ask MidwestAnxiety Show, here to answer your questions today. I'm at the beautiful Park Place.
When this life gets a little tough, the people start to run. Well, don't you just walk away? That's when I'll say, well, don't give.
Well, here we are, another week of shows, right? I am so excited for episode 17. You know where I'm at. I'm in the car, what I call the office. I'm headed to Park Place. Had a bunch of stuff this morning that I couldn't show you. Some client sessions. Facebook, how are you? It's Randy Floyd. You know what time it is. It's noon on Monday. I'm here live on the Ask MidwestAnxiety Show, here to answer your questions today. I'm at the beautiful Park Place. This is all about, this live show is all about asking me questions and me answering them. I would love to answer a question that you have. Can be about anything from my favorite food to I can't get my child out of bed in the morning for school to I have trouble pushing through that panic. You know, whatever your question may be, I come on every day at noon on a different social network and just ask people or answer people's questions. And Mondays are Facebook Live Day. Really excited for you guys to join me. As you're joining me, as you're putting your questions in, I would love to talk a little bit about just anxiety and the behavioral part of when people have anxiety, generally what happens. Because I think a lot of times we start to have anxiety and we learn a certain way of dealing with anxiety, but the problem is sometimes what we feel may be the best way is not always the best way, right? It may be the best way for the short term, but for the long term, it's probably not best for us. And so I want to talk about the behavioral part today of anxiety. You know, so with CBT, you have thoughts, you have feelings, and you have behaviors. So thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. We're going to focus on the behaviors today. And with the behaviors, generally, there are a couple things when you start to feel anxious. And I'm going to probably end up doing an episode where I'm riding a bike, because this is the easiest way for me to kind of talk with people about anxiety. So, okay, so just imagine yourself riding a bike. Imagine yourself riding a bike. If you're riding straight, great. We'll say that's no anxiety, right? But as you start to go up a hill and you start to experience some anxiety, then that hill gets a little steeper and it's harder to ride up that hill, right? And so the more you go, sometimes the steeper the hill is. Well, the trouble is, a lot of times when people start experiencing anxiety, they're like, oh, I just don't think I can do it. I don't feel like I can do it. I don't feel like I can do it. And so that feeling may start to take over, or thoughts of, I just can't do this. I just can't do this. So the more that the steeper the hill, the more that you start to experience anxiety, the less you have to tolerate it. And so for me, when I'm working with people, I talk about, you know, you're going to ride up that hill and you're going to feel anxiety. Yes, I want to feel anxiety. Why? Because when I feel that anxiety, I want to keep pedaling. I want to keep riding up that hill. I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop, because if I stop, I'll ride back down the hill. I'll fall back down the hill. So a lot of times people, when they have anxiety, they start riding up that hill. Oh, it's getting a little too much, 2, 3, 4, and then fall back down. And so they do a lot of this. So what we want to do is we want to gradually, you know, ride these hills where we keep going up, we keep getting up till we got to the top of it. What do we know when we get to the top of the hill? Well, it's exhausting. It feels pretty doggone good. It feels good, why? Because on the bottom, on the way down, it's a lot easier, right? It's a lot easier coasting. So the goal of working with anxiety is to keep going, is not to stop on the hill, because then you're gonna roll back down the hill. So what that looks like is a lot of times when people are riding up the hill or experiencing anxiety, they stop, they may go into it for a minute or they may not. They may start to anticipate it. And well guys, it's always my attempt to go live. Facebook Live for some reason seems to drop a lot. I really have a lot of trouble with Facebook Live, but I'll finish what I was saying with you guys. So, you know, when we start to look at anxiety and the behavioral pattern of riding up, and I might start to anticipate that anxiety, I might start to think, can I really do this? Can I really do this? I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to do this. And so you start to avoid it, right? You start to avoid, you just want to cancel those plans, or you start to kind of feel sick and you want to call in sick today, or you say, I'll do that tomorrow, or whatever it would be, right? So for us, we look to avoid the anxiety situations. What we want to do is not for the short term, we want to play for the long term, right? So if we start avoiding today, well, tomorrow's going to come back around, and guess what? It's going to be just as hard tomorrow or harder. So we got to say, make a commitment that I'm not going to avoid. I'm not going to avoid. We start to break it down into chunks. So how can I overcome this situation where it may not be like the worst possible situation today, but I can start breaking it down. I can start chunking it, and I can chunk it up where it's tolerable. I can get through the whole situation, and on the other side feel more comfortable. The goal is what we call is habituate. So we want to ride out the anxiety. We want to ride up that hill, and on the other side we want to ride it down. That's habituate. That's a big term. No, it's not a naughty word. It's not a naughty word. It sounds like a naughty word, but it's not a naughty word. We want to habituate that anxiety. We want to ride it out. It's kind of like a pool. You get in the pool, a cold pool, and when you first get in the pool, ooh, it's really cold. And then you start to habituate, or you start to get used to it. Okay, so the goal is, guys, don't make a commitment to stop avoiding your anxiety, is to break it down into chunks. So that's one thing, is don't avoid. The second thing is don't look for reassurance. I know this sounds weird that you think, well, Randy, man, just tell me I can do it. Tell me I can do it. Come on, Randy, tell me I can do it. Well, the trouble is, the more I tell you you can do it for now, you're gonna need me again. You're gonna become dependent on me. And what I want is, I want you to be really confident. I want you to be able, I tell people all the time, I want you to feel comfortable enough to run through a wall. I want you to be able to run through that wall and say, I got this, I got this, I can do this, I don't need anyone, I got this. So be careful with your reassurance, because the more that you need reassurance, or the more you give reassurance to someone else, it's kind of like a rabbit licking a water bottle. You got to go back and keep licking that water bottle, right? How you like that, guys? A rabbit in a water bottle. You guys get the picture, right? So no avoidance, no reassurance, and accommodations are the last one. Well, since I'm anxious, guys, and I want to go see this movie, and I think you can do these kind of gradually. You can start to discontinue them, take them away, but I think be careful, guys. Well, be careful to do it all at once, because you might overwhelm yourself, but be careful not to drag it out either. So I think with the accommodations, you know, you say, I can't go to that movie, I gotta sit on the aisle, I gotta sit on the aisle. Well, what happens if there's not an aisle seat? Then the next thing is that you have to avoid, or you're looking to your friend or your family to say, hey, tell me I'll be okay. Will you tell me I'll be okay? And see, so what happens over time is, if those accommodations, you need those. And that creates a pseudo world, guys. That creates a pseudo world where we can't always have an aisle seat, or we can't have it just the way that we want it to feel comfortable in that situation. So be really cautious with accommodations. I know a lot of times we like to have accommodations to make it easier on us for us to do it, and it makes sense. We think to ourselves, well, I'll still do it. In this, I mean, I just need a little help. But the trouble is we get used to that little help. I want to feel comfortable just going in and doing it, just being able to go in and do it and say, I got this. Now you have to do this on a gradual scale, okay, guys? So I'm not saying to do it all at once. You're gonna have to break this down into more manageable steps. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed that little tour of Park Place. You know, as I'm thinking about the different places to go for the live part of the show, man, it's fantastic out on these days. I know come November, December, we're gonna be closed up in a restaurant or someplace. So I'm gonna take full advantage every day that it's nice to be outside. And then when we're forced to go inside, we'll definitely do that. But I love Park Place. Great place to come with your family and eat, just hang out. Late October, early November, you saw that place where the water fountain and the nice colored chairs and stuff where I was sitting when I was doing the live part of the show. Well, they turned that into an ice rink, and you can go ice skating there, which is really cool. Just a great family place. So anyway, I'm headed back to the office. This morning I was finishing up some paperwork, returning some phone calls, did two client sessions, school refusal. You know, as these school refusal, as children have trouble going to school, they call me in the morning, and I go over and talk with them and try to help them go to school, you know, work through the CBT stuff, and then I connect with their school counselor. So I did some of that this morning. It's been a very, very busy morning. Yes, I'd like a large Diet Dr. Pepper, and that'll be it.
Large Diet Dr. Pepper or regular?
A large Diet Dr. Pepper.
109 is the wonder. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so I thought I was headed to the office, but I forgot. I needed to hydrate with a Diet Dr. Pepper. Well, it's a wrap. It's a little after 9 now, just finishing up with clients. Wow, I feel like I haven't seen you guys today. It's been kind of a blur. Started out this morning, as I do with most, if not all, my mornings, early with school refusal. Kids that are refusing to go to school, struggling with going to school, that I just I talk with them, I meet with them, try to figure out what's going on, and then try to coordinate that with their parents in the school, just try to get a good plan going. So did that this morning, got episode 16 out. Awesome phone calls. Mondays are usually my busiest day of just phone calls and people calling and wanting help and those kind of things. So usually Mondays are a blur, just because I've got so much going on.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you.
And so, and then this afternoon with clients and just video calls and all kinds of stuff. It's just been one of those days, guys. One of those days that maybe isn't so good for the vlog, for you guys to see, because you just weren't able to see a whole lot. Hey, we made it out to Park Place today. Wow, that seems like such a long time ago, but we made it to Park Place today. Facebook Live. As I was saying, this isn't one of those days that's just pretty. This is just one of those days as a community-based therapist, as a therapist, where, you know, you just try to provide as much value to the clients as possible, especially right now with all that's going on Oh man, all that's going on with just trying to get back into school and knowing that that's putting a stressor on the families, and an extra stressor on the families. So working through that stress. But anyway, I hope you guys have had a super day. I will enjoy connecting with you guys again tomorrow. Got some fun stuff planned for tomorrow. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed the show. You guys leave your comments down below. Ask me a question. I'd love to answer your question on a future show. Until tomorrow, guys, take good care. Peace.